Hello, I'm making a video and these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rhododendron. Look at the color. What an amazing color. Amazing color. It's these colors like my nail polish that are now ready to come out. Rhododendron and the other one at the other house, the one that's this size, they're all coming out now. That was a bird. That was a very shrill bird. A very shrill bird indeed. Oh my goodness. Hello, hello. What a shrill bird is that? And very noisy road. Oh my goodness. I had not heard this bird before. That is a strange bird. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. The bird is sitting in this tree, in this rhododendron tree. With the flowers. Hello, hello. I wonder if this is some kind of subtropical. Hello, hello. Look at that. A bird with a very shrill sound. Interesting, interesting, interesting. That is all interesting. Anyway, I need to make a video. I have not been feeling so super well lately. And I'm gonna lean into this tree here. And so the last couple of days I had very terrible anxiety, and it was just horrible nightmare. Maybe I'll go into this tree. It has a little bit more light and I can step into the tree. This is really nice. Stepping into the tree here. So now I have a halo. Glitter, glitter. Bluish glitter halo. Interesting. So anyway, this is nice here. So I feel a whole lot better now because I got good sleep, and I explain in a second how that all came about. Pepper dog, come over here. Yes, come here. Come join me. Come join me, baby. Come join me, babes. There's my babe. So anyway, I have been feeling very bad lately, and I was very agitated over the things that are going on in the world, with all these lies and people trying to not lose customers and making that more important than justice, and all these, these social lies that people make because they don't want to lose friends or they don't want to be socially rejected. Those kind of things, really go on my nerves. It's really, really terrible. And I feel like I have no one to talk to. I don't have anyone to lean on. I don't have a person who I can go to and say, this is how I feel. We went to the cemetery, and I took my papa for a walk around there, and it was nice, but I was so angry and sad about humanity that I cried the whole walk. And Papa doesn't seem to care very much when, it doesn't bother him, I know that Kenny it bothered him a lot when he saw me, and Kenny even sensed negative thoughts immediately. That any kind of negative thought, like any kind of depressed thought, he sensed that immediately. And he made these sighing sounds. So that was my negative thought indicator. It's like, oh, the sighing sound. Okay, I gotta quit thinking this. So he always reminded me. And I know that Papa Dog is psychic too, but he is not as sensitive. So he's not like Kenny was. He's not too concerned when, Paul and I fight or have an argument, or I try to always keep the argument somewhat balanced and not get it out of hand anymore. So we made that commitment actually before we got Papa Dog, because we knew we were going to get a dog who can hear. And so that was our commitment, to not yell at each other. And Kenny was deaf, so he didn't hear any of this, and that was good. That was really, really good for Kenny, that he couldn't hear the screams and and the anger and all of this. So it is a very, very, very difficult relationship. Paul and I are very different. We have very different way of processing things. Although in general, politically and worldview wise, I do get along better with atheists. But atheists, they can also be very closed up. They can be very closed up. I think Paul is more closed up than Richard Dawkins, actually. More rigid and more controlling and reactionary, sort of, like a dictator, sort of, like my way or no way, and this is where it ends, and this is where it started, and this is closed up, and this is and the purple candle is already too psychic for him, and all of this is hogwash, and it wouldn't matter what even if I use certain terminology, like if I say something like what's going through their minds, and when I talk about introspection, when I say that people need to introspect, and that people are coming from pain, and then he will say, bullshit, they're not coming from there. That's just you're just trying to make an excuse. They're just simply bad people. That's what he will say. They're just bad people, and with that, the conversation is closed and the lock is put on. It's like, they're just bad people. Finished. End of story. Throw them all away. That's it. That's the end of it. They're just bad people, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's it. Finished. And all of this talking is just a waste of time. That is his attitude. I'm sorry, but you know what? With that attitude, there isn't even any purpose for me to stick around. I don't even see the purpose of existing if that is the case. I mean, my whole purpose of existence is to at least help some people who are maybe at the end of their road, and maybe who are feeling kind of like, okay, I tried all of this, I tried the meanness, it didn't work, maybe you have something to tell me. It's those type of people that I can reach. If I close the door and say, oh, they're just mean, they're just bad people, throw them away, yeah, then I have no purpose anymore in this existence. Then I might just as well shoot back to the Orion Nebula where I came from, and into the blue light. My point of existence is to figure out what works and give that to other people. Yeah. And I'm not just some kind of like, this is now the only guru god, or I'm not a guru, I'm not a god, okay, I'm not a mermaid, just a regular person, good old granny who has come around and who has experienced some pain in her life and has come out the other end of the tunnel, and now I can say, okay, this, if you try this, it's gonna work. It's probably gonna work. It might work. It could work. And I can say this as under the subject field of psychic readings. And that's the only way I can give this information to people. It's like, I am a psychic reader. I am this mysterious psychic lady. I am not standing in the way of the medical industry. Thus, I can say psychic reader. I can put on my doorbell. So, and then with that, this is just legalities, because people are full of shit, and that's why we have laws that are full of shit. Okay. So, if it wasn't for that, if we had anarchy and there weren't any more laws, then I would say, hey, I have a lot of knowledge in real medicine, in real cures, in real healing. Okay? I can really say, I could say I'm a real doctor of plant medicine and clays and natural holistic healing. So I can say that I have knowledge now about you getting well. Okay, very few physicians can actually claim something like this in actuality. Legally, yes, of course, the doctor is exempt. The doctor, all it takes is has the doctorate license to practice, and you can malpractice, it doesn't matter, protected by the law. Hey, he's a doctor, he's a physician, he is protected under the Merck manual, sort of. So, but if good old grandmother with her real working home remedies comes in and says, hey, I can cure your C word, she gets in a lot of trouble, because the medical industry doesn't want any competitors. So that's how they legally secured their fraud. That's how it works. And that's why I'm saying, question these things. Question all of this legal fraud that's happening in the world. Okay? Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's correct. Doesn't mean it's ethical. Doesn't mean it works at all. It just means that is how they secured themselves legally, because they know a lot about legal protection. That's what they deal with it all the time. Some people have 30 lawyers working for them around the clock. I know some. Yeah, that's one way of living, you know. And it's just all about how can I trick other people, you know. How can I outsmart, how can I out-trick, how can my lawyer out-trick the other person. This is what just how, but you know, some people, sometimes it's also good to have a lawyer, or it's good to know legalities in order to protect yourself. Protect yourself, not to protect your fraud, but most people use it to protect their fraud. So I'm saying do this to protect yourself. Yeah. So, and that's what I do when I say I'm a psychic reader, because as a psychic reader I could open a business. I could tell people, you know, I have some information here, you know, this is my counseling sort of, you know, and and it's just a psychic reader, you know. So a psychic reader, people always need to know, you know, the psychic reader, yeah, is not a medical professional and so on. And then I think we even have to add, if you have an illness, you need to go to a medical professional, in parentheses, who has no knowledge about anything about healing. They have a lot of knowledge about prescribing you drugs because they get a kickback, financial kickback, for prescribing you Viagra and all that horrendous thing, these horrendous substances that cause liver damage and so on. And this is a fact. Pharmaceutical drugs cause liver damage. You don't want to be on pharmaceutical drugs for that reason. So, but the rhododendron tree here, sitting in a rhododendron tree, that is real healing. I can feel the energy from this tree here, for example, you know. That's an amazing tree. And this one here is gonna grow purple flowers around May. And I'm gonna film this as well when the purple flowers are. So the red rhododendron, as you can see, beautiful head-size flowers in red. And I think at the end of this month, the entire tree will be full of red flowers. And I will make a video of that. It's such joy. And at the other house, we have an entire orchard of rhododendron brushes. They are not as thick as these here. These here have become actual trees where you can climb into. The other house, they are very tall also. They're like 10 feet tall. These are like 20 feet tall. And they're about 10 feet tall, and they're like shrubs. And they are, it's basically a shrub plant, a beautiful shrub plant. You can make beautiful hedges out of that. And at the other house, there are all kinds of pink shades. They have planted those people before us. Wonderful. They did a great job in remodeling and gardening and landscaping. Wonderful work. And then they had to lose money on the sale of each person, one after another. I don't know, there were about 10 owners before us. Each one after another paid more for that property than what they got out of when they sold it. And that had to do with the dwindling economy. Now Donald Trump is in office, the economy will go back up, and the property prices will go up as well because of that. And that's a good thing for anyone who has property here. So, but anyway, so Donald Trump is just trying to do the best he can. This is a fact. I'm telling you the truth. He came in as a Deus ex machina in order to help, and it's because of him that we can keep this country going. If Bernie Sanders had gotten in, or if Santorum or any of these other horrendous Republican people had gotten in, Bernie Sanders, not much difference. He used to be a Republican. He used to be a libertarian. He's still a libertarian. Somehow infiltrated his way into the Democratic Party. Somehow with a lot of cash being offered from ExxonMobil to take votes away from Hillary Clinton. That's how it works in politics, and people fall for it. And so with Hillary Clinton, things would have become much better on all levels, because she already has the eco platform, as I was talking about it in my other video. Donald Trump has the same ethics, but can't work on the same premises. So because he is signed up for the Republican Party, and he has to perform in favor of this party's platform, so he does not have much. He could venture out, but he will get kicked out if he does that. So they will definitely, and they're already eyeballing him. The Exxon people, the Lockheed people, Boeing people, they're already eyeballing him, and they're watching every move that he makes, because they don't want him to go eco with anything. They don't want him to go green. He would, but he can't. Okay, he can't, because then he will not. They will figure out a way to get him out. They will use the Monica Lewinsky thing. They will use, all it takes for them is to pay the media and bring up this whatever, some grab them by the pussy shit again. That's all it takes for the dumb masses. See, and that's why I have been very depressed lately, because I think about these things. I think about how easily people are influenced by these things. How if someone says Friedrich Nietzsche, stay away from him, he's a Nazi or something, people go, oh, okay, I better stay away from him, he's a Nazi, without even reading one page of his books. Not even one page. They don't even bother to read one page of the books by Friedrich Nietzsche. But they go, oh yeah, okay, I believe you, he's a Nazi. Must be. They haven't understood anything at all. Friedrich Nietzsche is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, baby. Okay? He is on that lineage, soul lineage. Okay? Jesus Christ incarnated since then many times, also into animals in between. He comes in where he needs to learn, and where he needs to grow, and he changes gender, comes in as Joan of Arc, then he comes in as Friedrich, he comes in as a Great Dane, and so it just keeps on going. It's an ongoing learning process. And he's an indigo, a Heyoka. They don't want us to use their Native American names. So, but there's no other word in any other language. One would have to explain it like, okay, what is it? What is that? Well, how can this be circumscribed? Someone who is a jester, someone who comes in to show the public the mirror. Here's a mirror for you. You're reflecting yourself in this mirror. And that mirror makes you introspect. It makes you look within yourself. It doesn't give your ego the red carpet anymore. Okay? And that's why in each of these lifetimes he's had such a terrible terrible struggle with people. He has been hated so much. Even when he was in the animal forms, people will pick up that energetically that he is that Heoka, that shaman, that jester, the one that shows the mirror. But in particular in human form, because in human form we can speak the languages, we can articulate ourselves even better and show the mirror in even more depth and even more detail, because the devil, which doesn't exist, but the devil is in the details, as they always say. The ego is in the details, is embedded in the details of words and wordings and escapism, psychological escapism that's going on all the time. And when someone shows you that mirror and flashes it back at you with a gesture type of movement, then most people get very, very angry. I get hated so bad. I could feel it. We went to the other house here, to this house, for a couple of days, and the energies, they follow me around. I could go to Hawaii or I could go to Bangkok, okay, and these haters would follow me. Their energy is so hot, red hot, and vile, and inflamed. They chase after me. They come after me. How dare you? Da da. That's the energy. That's how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Wherever I go, how dare you? Yes, how dare I show you the mirror? How dare I show you a glimpse of your own spice, of your own egos, of your own ego activity? It's like, hello, here, look, your ego is looking right back at you. It's your ego that's doing it. Your defense mechanism, being in resistance to that what is, to the truth. And so that's why it takes a couple of those jesters in the world to do it. And I'm just one of them. I'm just one out of many. Maybe there are 1 million in this world, 1 million jesters, and they're all scattered around the globe, and they have to be here. If they are not here, things will fall apart very quickly. Things will become really Sodom and Gomorrah. Things will really take on. And it's the very people who preach you need to be careful about Sodom and Gomorrah, and the ones they accuse, It's exactly reversed. Those are the people who preach that, and who preach Jesus and all of this, who hate Jesus the most. The real Jesus soul, they hate the most. They have an idea about Jesus, and they have an image of him, and they have this idea of him being a god, and he's not. So Papa Dog, yay! Papa Dog's more advanced than Jesus Christ. Papa Dog, because Papa Dog, he's an angel soul that is more advanced. Yes, Papa Dog, you're more advanced. He was David Foster Wallace. He was a Heoka. He was an indigo. He had struggled so badly that he came to a crashing end of it, because his mind and body couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take humanity anymore. He had to really end it. He couldn't go one step further like this, with this denial and all of these things. And so in this lifetime, at the beginning of his lifetime, when he came back as David Foster Wallace, the fully European Basset Hound, the 100% Euro Basset, yes baby, yes, that's when he had, for 7 years, he had been living as a stud dog and in cages and I have no idea how it must have been for him, but I feel like that's when he was living with his the first handlers, the first caregiver, if I can use that name. I don't use the word owner. No one owns a dog. A dog is a living being, a soul, a spirit, a light being. You don't own a dog. A dog, or any animal, dog, you, a horse, they live for their own purposes. They have their own life, their own existence. They're not owned. And, you know, people who have slaves still happening somewhere around the world, particularly in third world countries. There's still slave ownership. In North Korea, they hold slaves in North Korea. They even sell these people, as they sell them to Africa and stuff like this, where as they're being shipped, where they jump overboard because they can't take it anymore. This is an extreme psychic breach to enslave another living being. Okay, that people need to know this. This is not just not allowed anymore in the Western world. It is highly unethical, it's brutal, it's cruel, and it is a psychological and psychic and energetic breach. And people need to know this. They need to know that they can't do it. If you enslave another living being, make another living being do something for you that they don't want to do, this is enslavement and rape. That can also happen in other ways other than in the sexual area. But in the sexual area, it's very cruel, also extreme. That's the most cruel. But there are other areas where people are being raped and enslaved, and people as in dogs or humans or other animals, other species. So any living being that has a central nervous system with feelings, and that's equal. We're all equal in that. Papa Dog is equal to me in the way he senses things and feels. So it's very important that people realize this and become aware about this. Very, very important. Very important. Extremely important. So yeah, I've been feeling really bad. I went to the store yesterday, and there was such a lovely little dog in a lady's arms. I was glad she brought the dog into the store, and big mistake I made. I was wearing a PETA t-shirt. That was the last time I did it, because every time I wear a PETA t-shirt, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which I fully 100% support, because they have helped animals the most of all groups. This is the hugest animal rights organization, and they have brought the most education about animal rights and animal well-being and animal protection to the world. And that's why they're being slandered, and that's why some alcoholic people who live in trailers, who don't know anything, never had any education, that's why they will listen to talk radio, and that's slander is brought to them through Lockheed Martin, whatever, talk radio, and they will buy it hook, line, and sinker. And then when they see a woman with a PETA t-shirt, they will hide their dog from them, because they have been told lies about PETA people. And PETA also has infiltrators, better believe it, tons of them, just so that they can smear that organization. They can smear it with dirt, and they can slander them into the ground, and they can tell lies. They can say this is how they are, and that's not how they are. They don't euthanize. There's these lies, that people will say in one breath. in one sentence. They will say, oh, they care more about animals than humans, and they kill more animals than anyone else. So it kind of contradicts itself, doesn't it? So when you see a contradictory statement like this, you already know this is a slander attempt. These are just regurgitations from other people, from corporate paid journalists, whatever, some pseudo journalists, talk radio people that are just bringing out slander into the world because they have been paid to do it. It's just, they get paid a lot of money for this. They do anything for money, anything. They'll make the world terrible just for money. But then they have to live in that terrible world themselves. And they're not thinking about this because they're only thinking about money. Slandering someone, okay, give me the money. When that makes the world worse, when animals suffer because of this, because of that slander, because of all of this, when people are being shunned, like I was in the store yesterday because of my t-shirt, when I was made to cry in the evening, those corporate paid pseudo journalists, they don't care. They don't care about the consequences of what that does to society. So become aware about it. Ask questions. That's what I'm trying to say. Ask more questions. But then something amazing happened, which I just wanted to mention before I turn this video off. When I went to bed, after I had cried, I had a very hoarse voice. And with this hoarse voice always comes the sense of heaviness and relaxation, and that was very good. It was already a whole lot better. I felt a whole lot better than before crying. So crying is very helpful. Very, very helpful, and I need a primal room. I need a soundproof room with padded walls. That's my dream, that's my future. I want to do this. I also want to design a center where people can come and where they can talk and where they can really vent out that pent-up energy of having been wronged, and throw themselves against the padded walls and scream it out in a safe place where no animal has to hear the screams, where no cups are thrown, where no one is gonna get strangled. You terrible. So no, where no one gets hurt, where people just let it out safely. That's what we need. So, and each time I express this, at least if I scream into my pillow, or last night in the garage I did this, that already was very, very helpful. And Papa Dog was in the bedroom. He didn't pay much attention to this, and I tried to stay away from him with this anger. So I stayed at the other end of the house, and I used my mattress and my pillow, and I closed the doors so that he doesn't have to hear it, and so that he's safe out of that energetic range of fighting between Paul and me. Paul, who has sometimes, I feel like, who deliberately is in resistance and trying to not understand how I feel. So it's this deliberate resistance that comes from his pain and his ego and his self-defense and protection against what he feels like is a threat, to him, to his own person. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot of... I gotta film this real quickly. I don't know if you can see this. A thing came off as I was holding onto the tree. A piece of bark came off, and there are all these amazing Kellerasseln. I don't know how they're called in English. I just know the German word for it. Kellerasseln. So, little 1,000 feet. So anyway, And so I felt better after I cried, but then I still couldn't sleep. I was still really thinking about all of this, thinking about these people, thinking about how that lady treated me, thinking about how the cash register lady treated me, all because of that Peter t-shirt, Like, particularly when they're saying things that they are supposed to say because they're working for a store, like, this is how much you saved, have a nice day, but they don't mean it at all. That kind of stuff really bothers me. That's when I really, when people say something and mean the opposite, that's really bothering me so bad. I can't stand it. I'm very sensitive with this. I can't just tuck this away and brush over it and say, hey, this is how we're all supposed to be. This is normal behavior, This is get on board with do like the Romans do and all that bullshit. No, it doesn't work for me. I'm not going to do as the Romans do when they lie, I'm only using Romans now as this, yeah, in order to express this as an example, because there's this saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and I don't agree, because that's fascism. I'm not going to do because someone else does something, and then I'm being shunned because I don't do as the other people do. I don't slander people as the other people do. I look into things. I read the stuff. I listen to websites, to groups, to people. I really listen to them. I hear what's going on. And then when you really do this, you see the bullshit and you see the goodness. You see what's bullshit and what's good. You see what's adverse and what's helpful and kind. You see what's going on in the world. You can discern. You learn to discern. And then we can see the situation from above, and we can see, aha, this is going on. Okay, now let's make it better. How do we fix this? How do we make it better? How do we turn it around? So those are the questions I ask. So anyway, I went to the couch and I slept there, listening to Jiddu Krishnamurti as I always do. But this time I just could not find my rest. I kept thinking about the lies and how people are turned against each other by the corporate agenda, and people don't have any clue what's going on. If people would just start to question things, then the corporate agenda wouldn't have a stronghold over you anymore. They couldn't turn you against me or against each other. They couldn't do this anymore. They couldn't turn you against Ingrid, who does so much. She lives her life to rescue animals, to end suffering, to bring education to people, to help people treat the animals better. And it's like what Mahatma Gandhi said, a nation can be judged by the way they treat their animals. So if people cannot be nice to the animals, they can't be nice. They're not nice. You are an animal. You are your dog. You are this other being. Also, there is no separation. There is no dualism between you and your dog, you and your animal, you and your cat, you and your horse, or any animal, you and your pig. If you have a pig, you pet that pig, and then you slaughter that pig, there is a major disconnect happening. This is alarming. This is very frightening. This is psychotic and scary. Okay? This is a frightening split that people do this. Okay? That's why we need to bring awareness to the world about this. A pig is equal and more and smarter, more cognitive than a dog. Even a pig is more cognitive than a German Shepherd. That's why they sometimes use pigs in law enforcement, even when they at least get over their ego type of, the male ego type of shit. So some people put reason before that. That's good. So because they see, hey, it works, they work, they have very acute sense of smelling. They smell out drugs and stuff like this. But other than that, in general, I don't want animals to work. So I don't want animals to work in law enforcement in general. So I'm just using this as an example to make this better understood, to make understood how intelligent pigs are. Okay, they're so intelligent they can even work as police officers. It's true. So, but I don't want animals to work in any field. This is my personal view on it. Animals should not be made to work, ever. Animals should only enjoy their lives and have fun and be loved. And so should all beings. All beings should just enjoy their lives and be in the flow. If you work a hard job, you have enslaved yourself. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. It's better to read someone's palms, or it's better to clean a toilet, or that's also very, very, very hard to do. It's also pretty enslaving. But you work for yourself. That's better to work for yourself and just do occasional jobs than be working for a corporation on some kind of assembly line and do the same things every day for 8 hours or 12 hours, or I don't know how long people work. This is monstrous. Okay? This is barbaric. This is brutal. That causes people to get very sick, to get the C, or to commit suicide. This is real brutal. It's a brutal violation of your own body and mind. Work should not be work. If you work, it should be a flow movement. It should be a flow. You should enjoy what you're doing, not work for someone and enslave yourself. And don't do it to animals. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. There are situations where, for example, if you have a dog, a service dog, make it so that the dog doesn't think this is work, or make it so that the dog is not being exploited. So make it that the dog can still take his naps and still have enjoyment with everything: eating, drinking, sleeping, being petted, going for walks. What the dog needs. That's the bottom line of it. Then it's not work. Then it's not exploitation. So when I finally, it was like, I don't know what time it was, but somewhere around 12, when I was crying again because I thought I wasn't going to be able to sleep. And I thought about Bob Hickman. I don't know if you know Bob Hickman. I will put a video of his under this video. Bob Hickman is a psychic medium. He is on YouTube, and I found him because I was looking for a documentary film, a real documentary film on religion and on the situation in Europe. And Bob Hickman made a video in this regard, a real courageous, great video. And I was it was so refreshing. I was so delighted when I saw that someone was speaking out, some innocent mind out there, some refreshing, innocent mind who sees things, who's intelligent, who sees the truth, and who speaks out for the truth and for justice. And so I immediately subscribed to him, and I click like on every one of his videos, and I watch his videos, and they make me feel so much better. They make me feel like there's a friend out there, even though he doesn't know me. And So I was thinking about him, and he has a video where he is wearing a hat, like with a real long hat, like the magician's hat. And I was envisioning Bob Hickman with that magician's hat. And I actually talked to him. I said, Bob, help me. Help me bring my mind back to calmness. Help me balance my mind out. I need sleep. I need to rest. I need to recover. And I did this. I kept talking to him in my imagination. I said, please hold me tight. Don't let me go. Don't let me fall into an abyss. Don't let me become insane. Don't let me lose my mind or my health. Protect me and hold me and reassure me that everything is good. And I visualized him doing this. And as soon as I visualized him doing these things, I fell asleep. I fell into this real calm, wonderful heaviness. And I fell asleep very quickly. And then I slept for almost 8 hours straight. Very deep sleep. And when I woke up around 10 o'clock, I felt so much better. I'm so infinitely grateful. I needed to make a video about this. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for helping me. Okay, you guys take care. Bye-bye.